Ladies and gentlemen, Lab After Dark is starting shortly. Lab After Dark is starting soon.
What's up? What's happening?
Lab After Dark is starting soon.
Right.
I have been
Well,
informed
you opened that Pandora's door.
that we were contacted by a company, and I heard it didn't go so well. I don't exactly know what it says, but Peyton will be here to read us the email.
I was actually just sitting down to pee, but whatever, you know.
It should be interesting, folks.
What's the point in talking?
Oh, yeah, you'll get him. I don't even have the detail. We're going to find out the
Lab
details.
After Dark.
We're going to find out the details together. All right. Well, Peyton was working on it today, and I believe we requested a quote, so it could be, hopefully we could write it off, but probably not. And so when he requested the quote, he had to, give an email address. And then so we got the email address, so they followed up with an email that I haven't read because I would rather have Peyton read it to me. Okay. And Angela, thank you so much, Angela, for your super sticker or super chat. Always a great night when Josh goes live. I don't disagree. And Donna, thank you as well. Was it a perfect intro? Landed it. We landed we stuck the landing. So let me just double check. All right. Hold on. Because I am curious. He said he'd be ready in a few. So we'll build up to it. It should be here he should be here shortly. That's true. I'm sorry about that, Kat. I'm sorry. I don't see Mary here, but I know that it's Mary's birthday. So if Mary shows up, then we will sing happy birthday. I know that she's dealing with some stuff, and hopefully keep Pop in your thoughts. And if you're the praying type, that would be nice as well. Well, I'm not. I'm not sure that we're going to have one. It sounds like this is a negative email, and yeah, so we'll find out here in a second what's going on. But anyway, so good to be here. Happy, what is it? November 25th, 2025. The countdown to Thanksgiving. It's going to be over soon. I remember, because, I'm sure that there are people that like Thanksgiving, and I do like Thanksgiving, but I don't like all the hoopla about it, if that makes any sense. And it's, it's just a lot of extra stuff and stuff you have to do. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. Please hit that like button on your way in if you have not. It's nice, but hold on. I'm very curious. I want to hear this. So hold on. Let me see if he's ready. I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to wait for people to get in the chat. I want the people that are here to know what's going on, that sat through the intro. Sorry. What do we got here? Dun, 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 dun. Da, da, da. La, da, 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 da. All right, here we go. Brody Duo. I cook for 20 people. Nobody offers to bring anything. That's insane. Can I come over? Do I have to bring anything? I love Thanksgiving too. I really do. Except the turkey. The turkey is like the sort of the deal breaker for me. I bought my ham yesterday. I bought 2 of them. 2 hams. Peyton, you there?
Yo.
Are you there?
I'm here.
How is it? How's life, buddy?
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. You've been working on you've been working on the porta potty situation. I know that you've been busy. And you said that we
Yeah.
got a response, correct?
Yeah, I got an email.
Okay, so don't tell me what's in the email yet because I'm nervous. Should I be nervous?
Yeah. I mean, you should be.
I should be nervous. Okay. All right.
Ed Sharon Marlowe donated $5 through Super Chat. My son asked, do we have to have turkey? I said no, you can cook, and well, my goal was met. He is cooking.
Could you hear that?
Kind of.
Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate you.
Thanks for the dono.
Thanks for the dono. Thank you, Peyton, for doing. Actually, give me a thanks for the dono, and then I'm going to isolate it and then use it. Go ahead.
Thanks for the dono.
Beautiful. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more. You're a wonderful son. I saw your brother today. I went to.
Oh, yeah?
I stopped by his work. I'm sure he loves that.
Yeah.
Is that bad? Have you ever done that?
No.
You've never showed up at his job before?
No.
Yeah, I did. I just
Yeah, well,
said, hey.
he's working, so.
Yeah, whatever. You guys used to come bother me at work all the time, remember?
Like, hardly ever.
No, that's not true. But I liked it. Obviously, I liked it. Okay, so let's just give a couple more minutes. We're getting it. We're getting here. People are coming in. So what happened is Peyton received an email today from our best chance to land a double wide porta potty. Do they address that in the email? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Do they address the toilet paper situation?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But they do. So they got the double. They have the double wide is addressed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm nervous, to be honest, because. All right. We have news on the porta potty, folks. Let me. Hold on. God, you did good work today, though. I know that. I know that you did your best. And what'd you call it? Yeah. Did you call it a double wide dumper yesterday?
Double wide dumper.
Well, is that what you call it?
No, double wide defecator.
Double wide defecator. I remember that. Okay, hold on. All right. So, do you have the email in front of you?
I do.
Okay. No, I'll tell you when. Not yet.
Okay.
All right. Hit me, baby.
All right.
Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm nervous. Let me get a drink of water so I can just breathe this all in. Everybody,
Yeah, just calm down.
Get in the chat. We've been waiting for this all week. Hop in. Breaking news. We have our answer.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. You want to get another drink of water in?
Hold on. That's crisp. That's fresh. You know, actually today I found a bunch of what is it? Essentia?
Yeah.
For
Essentia.
$1. Like the big ones.
That's nice.
I bought all 6 of them.
Nice.
All right. Hit me. Go
Okay.
slow though, because okay, go ahead.
All right.
And Cat Randall,
Dear
thank you for
Mr. D-
gifting. Wait. Cat Randall, thank you for gifting a Lab After Dark membership. Peyton hit me with a thank you for the dono.
Thank you for the dono.
Beautiful. All right, here we go.
Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you
Okay,
that we cannot provide.
stop. What? Regret? Already?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
We're off to a bad start.
Start over. Slower.
Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we cannot provide you with your porta potty request for several reasons.
It's not just one reason.
No.
Okay. Keep going.
First reason being
Start over.
First reason being we don't offer
Start over.
a buddy. Okay. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. First reason being we
No.
don't offer a-
Start over from the beginning.
Start the whole thing.
It was
Okay.
a sentence, Peyton. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna start the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we can't provide you with your porta potty request for several reasons. First reason being, we don't offer a buddy porta potty, nor are you zoned for a porta potty and would need an emergency permit
Wait
signed off.
a minute. Wait a minute. So they don't offer the double.
No, that's not a thing.
Okay. All right. Start from first reason.
First reason being, we don't offer a buddy.
You can read a
Porta
little faster
potty.
than that, Peyton.
I thought you wanted me to.
Not that
read
slow. I mean, come on. Just stop when I tell you to.
First reason being, we don't offer a buddy porta potty, nor are you zoned for a porta potty and would need an emergency permit signed off on by the city council. You ready for the second reason?
Yeah.
If you aren't a construction zone, I doubt they would grant you one.
Okay.
We suggest, since you are in a neighborhood with running water, that your guests use the indoor facilities. If you ever need our services for a carnival or a fair, or if you have a big construction project, feel free to reach back out. Best of luck. So, I mean, at least they said best of luck.
A carnival or a fair?
No, construction.
Oh, or a construction. Oh my God. So it's a no.
That's a big fat no.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
Well, I guess we use our indoor facilities.
Yeah, that's I mean, that is a fatal blow to our
Yeah.
plan. And we never heard back from Royal Flush. I mean, I think they blocked my number and email.
I mean, I wouldn't blame them.
Whose side are you on?
It's not about sides.
It is about sides. So
Disagree.
okay. Wow. I don't know what to do.
Me neither. I think we're out of luck, dude.
Well, we're going to file tomorrow. I'm going to need you to file the emergency petition. We have one,
Okay.
we have one day So I need you to go down to City Hall and demand an application for a porta potty
Yeah.
zoning. And tell them it's an emergency. Tell them we got clay pipes. You know, the
Okay.
whole deal. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have to file an emergency. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna respond to them right now. Hold on. Participate. Dear porta potty people, we are disappointed in your decision and are now going to force our hand in applying for an emergency permit.
Yes.
Next, if that doesn't work, we will head to the black market where we can get a porta potty. Where we can get a porta potty on the low, on the cheap.
Or
Hold on. On the low, on the cheap, where the water don't flow and the popo don't have to know.
wow.
You think I should put that part?
No.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
You have backed us into a corner and our cup is about to runneth over. How dare you produce these atrocities on us right before the holiday season?
I think we're a little late.
It's not over, dude. We got a full day tomorrow.
Okay.
So you're going to have to hit the old crappy trail
Great.
pretty quick. So 14. Hope your bathroom isn't off the kitchen. It's not. Gutter says, say I will be up Shit Creek without a paddle. I will be up Shit Creek without a paddle. Thank you. We look forward to resolving this issue with you as soon as possible. Please do not make us go to the black market or the dark web for a porta potty, because I will. Send. Okay, so City Hall tomorrow. You're going, you're filing, and then we'll be done. Right?
Whew.
What do you think?
Sure. Why not?
You're not supporting. Can you read that email one more time, please? Just one more time.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Okay. Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we cannot provide you with your porta potty request for several reasons. First reason being we don't offer a buddy porta potty, nor are you zoned for a porta potty and would need an emergency permit signed off on by the city council. If you aren't a construction zone, I doubt they would grant you one. We suggest, since you are in a neighborhood with running water, that your guests use the indoor facilities. If you ever need our services for a carnival or a fair, or if you have a big construction project, feel free to reach out. Best of luck.
Wow.
It's kind of unprofessional. They'd say they wouldn't grant us one. But whatever.
Well, the whole thing's unprofessional. I mean, what do you guys sling porta potties or not? First reason being,
You guys slinging porta potties, or
I didn't even know you had to be zoned for a porta potty. Did you?
no.
Oh, is this your first interaction with the porta potties?
Yes,
Have you ever used a porta potty?
unfortunately.
They're the worst. Your first mistake was,
Yes, they
buddy.
are.
Yeah. Best of luck is petty as hell, someone said.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird way to end it.
So what's the plan for tomorrow?
Just get a porta potty somehow.
City Hall?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe
Gotta do it.
maybe we can tell them that this is actually the equivalent of a carnival,
maybe.
because our family's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we are a circus.
We should be a protected class, but we're not.
No.
You know, like wildlife, like habitats, like that you can't hunt on.
Yeah.
That's us.
You think so?
I mean, it should be.
Yeah. We are like a rare breed.
Wow, I cannot believe this. This is bad news. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
We
you did.
I guess so.
Well, now we
We gotta
have
figure it
stuff.
out.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be back to it. I'll have to know, a little earlier in the day, and then we'll,
Yeah.
somehow we'll get this figured out.
Yeah.
All right, Peyton. Well, I appreciate your hard work. We'll catch you next time.
Dude.
All right, later, dude. All right. So that's disappointing news, no matter how you cut it. For me, for my family, for the porta potty company who's going to be missing out on money. I can't imagine that it's real lucrative this time of year. But so tomorrow we go and file an emergency petition with the city council for an emergency permit, porta potty permit, PPP. It's just rough stuff. And I know my sister's she is going to love this. She is going to love this. She's going to go, ha, ha, ha. We told you. We're bringing the good plunger. I'm just like, dude. I mean, I don't know if it's against my civil rights, Cat. My civil rights? I mean, I would like to think that it is, but I don't. We regret to inform you our family's long-standing Thanksgiving festival press release will be including the details that your business does not support culture in our community. I am going civil rights. You think I could sue the shitter company for this? I need a porta potty permit. PPP on the ASAP. ASAP. PPP. Give me a PPP ASAP. I'm going to need that on the double. Costco sells porta potties? Hold on a second. Is that true? No. There's a portable toilet. How much is this son of a bitch? $99. That ain't gonna do the trick. That's the opposite of a double wide. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. Why is she wearing a headband? Portable toilet for adult camping. I mean, I guess if I set it on fire afterwards. Like, see, that's cheap enough to where I could just I don't understand the headband. I wonder what something like that pays. Like if you're to pose, you know, the black market will probably. Let me see what my sister has to say about this. Because she's really the reason that this is happening. Whether she wants to admit it or not. Yeah, meat sweats. You're right. You're right. I got you. I got you. Makes total sense. I don't know, man. Like a headband, like that's really. Oh, maybe it's because they're hiking or something. I don't know. I don't know. So I can't pick that one up, but this is wild.
And Wolf Rider 1270 donated $5 through Super Chat. Been missing you, Joshua. Happy 30 months and happy to be a lab rat.
Appreciate
Wishing you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Many blessings. Praying gesture emoji. Romantic face emoji.
Oh, thank you. What up, PG? What is he saying? Lisa K got one of them under her bed. She's having due to the fact she really? Is that true? Damn. I thought you could just get like a porta potty chair. Like this is, I mean, does she really? Maybe I shouldn't. I don't even want to know. It's true. That's sad. Well, I mean, why would she put it under? It collapses. It is collapsible. Yeah, I'm not doing that either. There'd be no holes dug or anything like that. That can't happen. Large camping. See, this is what I don't really get though. Hold on. I mean, this might work. This might work. Oh man. Can you imagine showing up to like Thanksgiving and say, here's the bathroom. That is insane. What kind of shoes are those? She's got them the New Balances. Look at the New Balance. She got them New Balances out. Well, I'd have to put it under a tent of some sort, but everything would have to be set on fire afterwards. Like I'm not going to actually pick that up and deal with it, you know. I'd have to call somebody in and have them deal with it or I don't know, protect the environment. It's just, anyway. This email, first of all, it seems extremely snotty. And Jerry, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Now, I would need a tent. I don't know. So, dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we cannot provide you with your porta potty request for several reasons. First reason being, we don't offer and it's in quotations, buddy porta potties. So somebody lied right away. And you would need an emergency permit signed off on by the city council. If you aren't a construction zone, I doubt they would grant you one. We suggest, since you are in a neighborhood with running water, that your guests use the indoor facilities. Bullshit. If you ever need our services for a carnival or fair, or if you have a big construction project, feel free to reach back out. Best of luck. Just terrible. Terrible. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The best of luck seemed a little petty. I don't know. It all seemed kind of petty. Shuttle service to the neighbor's gas station. Best of luck. It should have said like kind regards or something. Best of luck was not. Now, Cat's thinking. That's a great idea, actually. Option 2. It would be awesome if they were developing a back-to-back model. Well, that took the wind out of my sails. So hopefully we can hopefully tomorrow we can get this emergency permit thing. They'll grant it to us. I don't know what the frig they're talking about. Since you're not a construction zone, I doubt they grant you one. That's exactly. Oh, sorry, we're not a construction zone. Maybe if we were, I'll make it a construction zone. I will call Gavin. Borrow his porta potties. Off topic, but I got a puppy today. What kind of puppy did you get? Magic Star? Have fun potty training it. But puppies are great. Some puppies are great. I mean, like I said, Otis was just the biggest nightmare that ever existed to puppyisms. Some of them was family emergency on the most important holiday of the year, where the wind blows. Maybe I'll do that. Thinking back now, I don't think Prairie Gardens was serious about Lisa Kay having a shitter under her bed with a hole in the mattress. I think she's pulling my chain. I think everyone gets a diaper. Everyone's going to need one. Whoa, bo- bo- bo. What is the what kind of puppy is it? You let your dogs use the house bathroom? That's good. They flush the toilet too? Australian Shepherd and German Shepherd. He's already peed on my blankets twice, on the floor at least 5 times, but he's also gone outside several times. How old is he? Oh my God. Sounds like Otis. We named him Odin. That was probably, I mean, it's cute, but see, I had never had a puppy until I got Otis. And when I got him, he was tiny. Like he was, I think he was close. It was probably too early to have him by like a week or two, but we did. And he was so little and his ears were all flapped over. And Mr. the Lab, I put a Thanksgiving classic in the Discord. And I'll check it out. But when I remember there was a night where I woke up to just like, it sounded like running water, but it was him just taking like the biggest piss of a little dog that could ever have been taken by any little dog. Okay. And when I got up, he had pissed in another spot on the floor. So when I got up out of bed, I was just standing in his pee, which was unfortunate. It was unfortunate for everybody, but mostly me. And I remember looking up in the sky, or it was really just the ceiling, but I was hoping that God was hearing me, and I just asked if I made a mistake. Because I had never ever dealt with anything like that. And it was just, but he learned, and he's a turd. He's cute, but, and also again, make sure to click the notification bell tomorrow. Dr. Gary and I will, we have a show 7:15 on the West Coast. So hit that notification bell for that. And then that way you get notified right before we go live. That way you don't miss it if you want to see it live. If not, catch it on the replay. Appreciate that too. Wow. So this is tough. Although I do want to hear this. Let me play this for a second. We're gonna do call in, I believe. I believe that's what we're doing. This story gets oh God, I gotta get T-Rev off there. Go. Leave. Where is he? Great. We're having problems. We're having problems. We're dropping frames.
Back and forth continues. An LAPD official is pushing back on the claim that the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was frozen and decapitated, while the LA County Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed there is a hold in place on any information coming out about what may have happened to her. There is a lot to break down. Let's get into it right now. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Real quick, I got to ask you something before we jump into all this. Have you ever left a meeting and thought to yourself,
No, I never have.
the body was apparently in the case code? We have another update in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation.
This case,
So in the case,
and we've been kind of paying attention to it a little bit here on Lab After Dark, but this case gets stranger and stranger by the day.
where we do not currently have an announced cause or manner of death for the 14-year-old teenager from Lake Elsinore, California, who disappeared last year, whose body was apparently found in a bag in the trunk of a Tesla registered to singer David back in September out in the Hollywood Hills. There has been a lot of speculation on what happened to her, and a lot of confusion as to why the LA County Medical Examiner hasn't listed this information out yet. So the thought was that they're still waiting for toxicology reports,
Yes.
more information. It was listed as deferred. And then we go to the latest reporting from TMZ, which, by the way, I don't know, was maybe debunked. So it came out that sources close to the investigation told TMZ that Celeste's body was frozen, that it had actually been thawing out when it was found in the car, that she had been decapitated, that her limbs had been severed, cut into pieces. And whether that complicated knowing for sure what happened to her, here's the problem. This just came out. An LAPD captain and commanding officer of the Robbery Homicide Division told People magazine, this isn't true. Quote, Celeste's body was not frozen. She was not decapitated. The whole frozen thing doesn't even make sense. Her body was in the car for weeks. Even if she had been frozen solid when she was put in the car, which there is no evidence to suggest she was, 5 or more weeks in the trunk of a car in sweltering heat in the middle of summer would not have resulted in a partially frozen body being discovered on September 8th. Now, Williams previously said that Celeste had been dead for at least several weeks. What is going on? And now we got to talk about what just happened, okay? This is real. The medical examiner's office has removed information from Celeste's case on its publicly available website. So according to a release from authorities yesterday, quote, at 10:54 a.m. on Friday, November 21st, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by the Los Angeles Police Department to place a security hold on medical examiner case number 2025-14252 Celeste Rivas Hernandez. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. The department's mission is to have full transparency with the community by providing information about our cases to empower people to make changes that save lives. Since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds on medical examiner cases simply by law enforcement request. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. The department previously received a request for a security hold from the LAPD on this case on September 15th, 2025, which was denied due to insufficient justification to warrant the hold. The department understands the public's interest in this case and remains committed to transparency when possible. Information will be made available once the court order is lifted. For questions about the court order, timeline, and the law enforcement investigation into this death, you can contact the LAPD. Now, I will add this. LAPD Captain Mike Bland told NBC4 Investigates, quote, this is an ongoing RHD homicide case. Robbery Homicide Division. And the purpose of the court order is to ensure the LAPD receives information on this case from the medical examiner's office before the public does. Now, by the way, Steve Fisher, who we've had on this program before, the private investigator.
Oh my God.
Dude looks like a lady. Da da da. Dude looks like a lady. Da da da. Dude looks like a lady.
Who was hired by the owner of that rental property that David was reportedly staying at, which was near where this abandoned Tesla with Celeste's body inside, where it was found and where it was towed. Again, someone we've had on this show numerous times to talk about his investigation. He wrote this on X, quote,
God.
appreciate the commitment to transparency by the LA County Medical Examiner's Office. They previously denied an LAPD request for a security hold on the case. Now, LAPD obtained a court order sealing the case. The timing of that, along with the wording of the news release from the Medical Examiner's Office, leads me to believe a cause and manner of death have been determined in the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and the ME's investigative and autopsy reports are completed. Is he right? Now, to couple that,
Probably
something
not.
else I got to talk about. According to the LA Times, according to court documents that they reviewed, a detective has categorized this investigation as a, quote, investigation into murder. Now, that is very significant because the LAPD previously indicated that there might not be a crime beyond concealment of a body. So this was paperwork in support of not releasing the ME's findings, which I just mentioned. And you had LAPD Detective Joshua Byers, who said in
By the way, TMZ is also reporting just a couple of hours ago that their source inside the medical examiner's office, whoever that is, and I have no clue who it is, and not that they're going to tell anybody, but they're saying that this person has doubled and tripled and quadrupled down, that what they said is legit, and apparently there is a beef between the medical examiner's office and LAPD, that they don't get along. They don't get along for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is, but they don't get along, and that they're standing by what they're reporting. So
a declaration that was filed that release of these autopsy findings could taint or jeopardize this apparent murder investigation. Quote, will reveal or tend to reveal the ongoing investigation and the integrity of the investigation, as well as the identity of witnesses and or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement and the content of the information they have provided, which could endanger the lives of witnesses and or compromise the investigation. And Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Craig Richmond granted the
yes, TMZ, they have a very sort of scummy operation. That's just my personal opinion, but that they get it right more than they get it wrong. They really do.
LAPD's request with respect to not releasing the ME's information. And by the way, last week, LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, who oversees the department's detective operations, said, quote, accountability is coming. Our RHD detectives have been working and not waiting for that decision by the medical examiner. They are going to get justice for Celeste Rivas. No one is off the table, including him, seemingly referring to David. Let me bring on right now a special guest to try to get some clarity about what all this means. I want to bring on Dr. Nada Rutherford, Richland County coroner here. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on. Let's start first off. What is a security hold, and how often do you see something like that?
It's very rare that we see a security hold, but usually when we see it, it means that there is very valuable and specific information about that cause of death and the manner of death that they do not want to release to the public. It means that there is something so unique about that death that they want to hold that information close to the chest so that they can still conduct their investigation without the public frenzy that they know will happen once they start releasing details. So whether that's drugs were found in the system, the way the body was found, they've said that she wasn't dismembered, but was there something else unique about the trauma that could have been associated with her body? They have something specific that they do not want the public to know right now. And In my humble opinion, as a person who works with law enforcement and as a coroner who does active investigations, if there's something very specific and we release that to the public, we could totally mess up the entire investigation. You could lose witnesses. They don't want to deal with whatever information was found. Right now, they are still doing an active investigation. And so if holding that information close to their chest is going to help them get justice for this potentially murdered 15-year-old, then I think that they should do it, and everyone should be in agreement with that.
So do you agree with Steve that right now the ME's office has definitively a cause and manner of death for Celeste Rivas Hernandez?
I do believe they know what her cause and manner of death are at this point. And the fact that they have pushed for this hold so hard, they denied the first one, and then they went back again.
What did you make of that? The fact that they requested it all the way back September 15th, 7 days after her body was found.
They want to keep information close to them for this investigation. You have to think about this. You have someone who's a celebrity. You have someone who has money, power, resources, and the people around that person.
It's smart of him to not be talking, and I'm sure that that's what his lawyers have advised him of. But his silence is deafening in this case to me, because first of all, it's the whole situation for him is a terrible look, whether he killed her or not. The fact that he had been dating her or whatever, whatever you call it, it's a terrible look for him. It's a terrible look for the parents. It's a terrible look for everybody involved that the situation wasn't handled differently, and that this guy is basically, I guess, what you would call a hebephile. It's different than a pedo, where he likes teenage girls. That, to me, is the whole case is just it's sick.
Also have
Cat Randall coming through with a Lab After Dark membership. He says, Trans Randall says, show me the everything.
money, power, and
Yeah, I mean, at some point you would need to.
resources. So how do you infiltrate and penetrate all of those things if you are giving all of the information to the public? I'm all for transparency, but gosh, we want to know what happened to her, and the people doing the investigation should have that information first before the public gets it and tears it up.
And just to be clear, if we take all this as true, if it was denied all the way back in September, there's a possibility, would I be totally wrong by saying maybe they didn't have the cause and manner of death yet? Maybe it was too premature. Maybe it was too early for the LAPD to request that no information be shared. But now the ME's office may have cause and manner of death, and the whole situation has changed. And maybe you're right. There's something in there that they say this is going to taint the investigation. So do you think that my timeline might be right there?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the other thing. When you have a body that is decomposed, it takes longer to get that cause and manner of death. The body is breaking down. It is
Also, another fascinating case is the missing football coach that's in trouble for the, I think it's the child sex crimes, I think is what it is. And he just took off. He's coaching an undefeated football team, and they can't find him now. I have an idea.
literally liquefying. You've got a car found
I mean, nothing screams guilty like taking off during an investigation while you're coaching an undefeated football team
in a hot area, encased in metal, and the body is going to break down even faster. Whether she was frozen, not frozen, you put a body out in the heat, it's going to decompose. And we don't know how this body exactly was found. Was it found encased in plastic? Was it found inside of a suitcase? How was the body found? How was it dressed? How was it draped or clothed? All of those things become so important. This girl's been missing for a year. A year. before her body was discovered.
And there have been reports about when her last known sighting was. I will get into a second when it seems authorities believe she might have died. Put that to the side for a second.
At Cat Sees You donated $5 through Super Chat. Weber is a whiner. Bell emoji.
He always pronounces wiener whiner. Thank you, Kat.
You mentioned something very important here. This back and forth on freezing. I said this in our episode yesterday. If this reporting is true, not true, how distressing this must be for the family to hear something like this. But I have to tell you, when I was doing the episode, I was like, it doesn't make sense that the body was found thawing. It was in a hot car. When would a frozen body been transferred? It seems that when the car was parked there, the body was already inside. So the fact that you have, it's very hard to get definitive information in this case. And yes, there's speculation and sources say this, but this idea of the body being frozen and thawing out, I gotta say, I'm not surprised that it's been debunked, or seemingly debunked.
Here's the thing. The medical examiner knows exactly how that body was presented to them and to that office. So even if, let's say she was frozen, let's say they're trying to throw us off by saying, oh, that wasn't the case. Her body would be well preserved had it been frozen. And you would actually have more of a whole body in front of you. So if she was thawing in the car, yes, she's going to decompose and the rate of decomposition is going to be what it is. But if she was frozen and then put in the car, like let's say she was stored someplace, we've had cases like this here in our county where someone was in a deep freezer for years and then the body started to decompose once the power was cut off to that site. So the idea of her body being frozen and thawing, it's a very real possibility. But that ME's report, that autopsy report, how that body was found and that determination of how.
All right, so did you guys hear that? So she's saying that yeah, it is possible, which is terrifying in itself.
Long she could have possibly been dead. They have so many things that they can utilize, from bug activity to looking at just how much of her body had decomposed. Was there parts of her body that were mummified? Was she left someplace and then frozen? You would see decomposition even in that. So there's a lot that the medical examiner's report is going to have in it.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, and thank you, little Miss Sharon. We appreciate the. Let me see here. Tina Bobina.
Based on what I just read to you,
in the house,
this hold, do you think there's a possibility that it's undetermined? They can't tell exactly what happened to her, or does that seem unlikely? Because if it was undetermined, why not release that information unless they believe this would cause an uproar? You know, how could you not know what happened? You know, there's obviously a number of reasons why that could be, and please elaborate on them. But do you think it's maybe unlikely that the cause of death, the manner of death, is undetermined?
It's a possibility. You have 5 manners of death to choose from: natural, accidental, suicide, homicide, and undetermined. Those are the 5 manners of death. And so when you get to undetermined, it means that all of the other manners of death are equally likely and you cannot make a determination. And so again, the state that her body was in is going to be very, very important. If there are any organs that they can look at, can they look at her liver? Can they look at her kidneys? Are her eyes intact enough to be able to pull vitreous out, to be able to determine if there's any, blood or a chemical that's in her system that has kind of been able to be maintained in that vitreous fluid? What other things are present? And so what I hear when I'm reading all of this and I'm hearing all these different reports, they know something and they are trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together for a clearer picture.
What did you make of that response from the chief medical examiner regarding the security hold? My interpretation is there's a bit of resistance here, right? There's a bit of resistance. And that was a statement to make there. What did you make of that?
So I think he's frustrated. I think he's saying, I want to release this information, but they're telling me that I cannot do it. I think he just really wants his hands out of it, because once they make their determination and it goes to court, he can talk about his findings and explain everything. But I'm sure his office is getting railed with the number of phone calls, requests that are coming in from the media outlets, the community outcry from all of this. So I think it's probably more of a resistance, like, please let us go ahead and release this so that we can get back to all of the thousands of other cases that we have coming through that office.
The line to empower people to make changes that save lives, does that indicate something about what might have happened to Celeste?
Here's what I take from that. This girl was, and not that she deserved to die, so I am not saying that. You have a 15-year-old with a history of running away. You have a 15-year-old who maybe was getting into some trouble, and maybe they want to release information that will be a cautionary tale to some of the other children in that area who may be runaways, who may be rebelling against their parents or the homes that they're growing up in. So maybe that's what he means. But what I took from his statement was that he wants the public to know what happened, but he also has to follow the court order. So I certainly don't feel like he's trying to be combative in his response, but he certainly wants to release the information.
And based on everything that's come out now, at this point in time, does it seem to you that Celeste was murdered?
This is smelling a lot like a homicide. It's smelling a lot like a homicide. It does not seem like a natural death. Could it be accidental? Sure. Could it be self-inflicted? Sure. But it's smelling.
Like a lot of these guys, and I don't know this David guy, I've heard one of his songs, it was called Romantic Homicide, which is, you know, what are the odds? But a lot of these guys who get fame and, you know, have all these yes men around, they don't like being told no, and they don't like being disrespected, and they don't like somebody, you know, they just seem to fly off the handle, you know, at a moment's notice. And obviously he's not upset about, I mean, the situation. He was going on tour before anybody even knew that she was dead.
A lot like a homicide.
You know, it was reported that LAPD may be considering David a suspect, and that there is potentially a second suspect as well. TMZ reporting about this trip.
Potentially a suspect? I mean, come on.
The singer allegedly,
he's at least a suspect.
He took to a remote area in Santa Barbara in the spring, and you had an LAPD official not authorized to speak publicly about the investigation, but apparently told NBC4 Investigates that Celeste potentially died in the spring. What do you make of that potential time of death, and what do you make of who potentially could be involved in disposing of her body in whatever way her body was ultimately disposed of?
Night.
So if her last known moments are to be in the spring, then it would make a whole lot of sense that her body was preserved to the point that they had a smelling, rotting body in a car decomposing. That would make a lot of sense. This is why I keep going back to this. Again, I know they said, oh, they've debunked this rumor. No, you really haven't, in my opinion, because all it takes is a person who can read through all of these different reports and all these different accounts. If she was there and all of a sudden she wasn't, where was she? The people who were with her should know where she was, and they should be able to give an account as to where she may have been. Was he hiding her out? Did something happen? He's with another person.
Yeah, the fact that nobody reported her missing from, I mean, he's obviously tied to her and that they were dating.
On this trip, was it just him and Celeste? Who were the people who last saw
He should go to jail for that.
Celeste alive? And it's going to take people knocking on doors, asking questions, and trying to appeal to the
shit. What did they say? It was a month or so? Something like that. Long time, I know that.
their human nature to say, what happened to this 15-year-old kid? She's not a young adult at this point. She is a child who is around adults who may have wanted to do her harm for whatever the reasons may be.
Here's the million-dollar question. How long does this court order last, if you know, in your experience? Because here's the bottom question. When do you think we will all get answers as to the cause and manner of death? When will that be released? How long will the court order be in place for? Will there be an arrest first and then it be lifted? In your experience, what can we anticipate there?
In my experience, usually there's an arrest and then they release information. So it's one of those things where they want to have all of their ducks in a row and then share with the public how they came to make the arrest that they made, which makes a lot of sense from an investigative standpoint. But from a public interest standpoint, it's like, you know, who may have done this to her? And is there cause for community concern? Is there someone going around snatching 15-year-olds who may have a little bit of trouble in their past, luring them away from their homes or luring them away from whatever safe place they're in and killing them? So I think there is a definite reason for public interest in this case outside of just the sensationalism that you have a wealthy, you know, star singer who may have been involved in this. But what other information does the public need to know? And is this something that can be used as a cautionary tale for students who may be in the same situation?
I ask every guest this, and I hope you can provide some light on it as well. Is Celeste's family going to be notified first about cause and manner of death before anybody else? I know this is a sensitive investigation, but given how high profile this is, how many different theories there are, should they be notified? Do they think they have the information right now? What would you think best practices are?
To me, the family should know first. In my investigations, before I do a press conference, before I do a news release, I sit down and I talk with that family, whether it's by a phone, whether it's in person. I always speak to them and say, hey, here's the cause of death. Here's the manner of death. Here's the information that I'm going to release to the media. I want to give you a heads up that these are the things that will be said so that you are hearing them firsthand from me and not from a media outlet. And to me, that gives respect not only to the decedent, the person who's died, but also to the family and the grief that they are having to endure.
Dr. Nita Rutherford, I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for giving your perspective on this as we try to navigate what is true, what are the answers, what can we expect. This is a unique case. I mean, there's whiplash right now.
Yeah, there's some really, really odd stuff. Where's the way that child Celeste should have been with him for any reason?
A father.
Okay, so here it is. Hold on. This is the one that I was telling you. I was genuinely curious about this one. This is the one. It's the missing football coach.
Husband and an all-star high school football coach is missing right now, and some of the speculation around his disappearance has sent a small Virginia town reeling. What was supposed to be a triumphant trip to the playoffs has instead turned into a hunt for answers. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Hi, Roswell.
All right, guys, before we get into this story, let's talk about the free app Upside. It gets you cash back.
Well, a lot of questions, Mr. The Lab. What is a child and what is an adult? Well, I think when you were saying earlier about 25, that's when the brain stops developing or your frontal cortex is developed. And then 18 is what the law says. And it is what it is. And she was 11 when they met.
Several churches.
And he was what, 19?
A historical museum and high school
That's
football
what I was
team
thinking too.
That this season is dominating on the field. The Union High School Bears are undefeated this season, and they're on their way to the Virginia High School League Class II state championship. But right now, overshadowing the team's success on the field is a desperate search for their head coach. 46-year-old Travis Turner was apparently last seen on Thursday, November 20th. This is according to Virginia State Police. Agents from VSP were reportedly en route to Turner's home to talk to him about some sort of active investigation, but they were called off when they learned that Turner wasn't at home. VSP told media outlet News Channel 11 that they were not going to Turner's house to arrest him, but they just wanted to talk to him. But details surrounding why they wanted to speak with Turner is still very murky, and we dug into this story, and here's what we've learned. The Virginia State Police missing persons database.
Let me see. So he had been in trouble already, Gutter, or no, Banana. Josh, the coach there 2 years. I think your comment got held for review because of the, the child thing, but Josh, the coach there 2 years ago also. So a different coach. Wow.
Lists Turner as an official missing person out of Wise County, Virginia. Now, the info states that he was last seen wearing a gray sweatshirt, gray sweatpants, and glasses. On Friday, the day after Turner vanished, Wise County Public Schools announced that an employee within the district had been placed on administrative leave. They did not identify the person involved, but as you can imagine, there is rampant speculation that it was Coach Turner.
Coach.
The New York Post reports that the district released the following.
And please hit that like button if you have not. And then after this is done, we'll reset back to the main story.
Statement, quote, a staff member has been placed on administrative leave with pay while an external agency reviews an allegation that was reported to the division. This is standard procedure and not a determination of wrongdoing. This situation also involves an active law enforcement matter, and the division cannot comment further, end quote. So here's what we know about Coach Turner. We know that he helped actually launch the football program at Union High School in 2011. That happened after two local Wise County schools were consolidated into one. He's been the head coach ever since then, and they've had a lot of success. According to family updates on Facebook, Turner's adult son also helps out on the sidelines. The team's assistant coach, Jay Edwards, has since taken over the coaching duties for the Bears because Coach Turner's missing. On Saturday, despite the worries about what may have happened to Coach Turner just a couple days after he vanished, the Bears continued to win. They shut out their opponent and they advanced to the playoffs. But Virginia State Police's Bureau of Criminal Investigation has had agents combing the area near Turner's home. Now, again, this is part of the country that is very rural, and it's an area where there are a lot of mountains. You're in Appalachia. It's a very difficult place to be able to search if you're looking for one person. The cliche needle in a haystack may apply here. Over the weekend, John Day, who is an agent with Virginia State
where do you think he is, honestly?
Police told News Channel 11 this, quote, we've had the drones up in the air looking, searching. We tried to get the state police aviation.
If he was moving around, they'd probably be able to find him. My guess is that he's not moving around anymore.
But they were unable to fly.
That he probably went the Travis Decker, Brian Laundrie route.
Yesterday because of the weather. We've had canine units, bloodhounds from local departments, sheriff's office here, and Wise State Police dogs into the woods searching, the local area of last known place where Mr. Turner may have been or had been seen. Authorities have not released any details about their investigation that's allegedly connected to Turner, but social media, it's been on fire with rumors and speculation, and we're going to tell you about some of those rumors online, and these are rumors that you can easily search for on social media, and we want to be clear before we talk about them because these are just rumors at this point, just speculation. They have not been confirmed by police or by investigators. So let's dive into it. According to multiple unconfirmed and unidentified sources, at least 2 teens have accused Turner of inappropriate contact. A social media page called Scanner Food that monitors police dispatch did share audio of deputies searching for someone on Thursday night with reports coming in of a person walking into the woods with a gun. However, there is no confirmation from officials that the person that allegedly went into the woods with a gun was Turner. News Channel 11 reports that Coach Turner's wife wrote in a now deleted Facebook post, quote, Travis is missing and that's all we know. We love him and need him here with us. Thank you to everyone who has reached out with love and support. It means more than you know. Just keep praying that he comes home. So that was on Friday night, roughly 24 hours after he went missing on Thursday evening. Now, anyone with information about Coach Turner or where he may be is asked to call Virginia State Police. The number 540-444-7788. We also want to be clear. This may be a very small part of Virginia that many people haven't been to, but it's not the first time that there's been a search or a manhunt, depending on how you look at it, for a Big Stone Gap, Virginia resident. Many locals are bringing up the disappearance of a man named Eric Jones after he allegedly murdered his ex-wife. Jones is accused of shooting Janina Jefferson during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend in 2016, and he has never been found. Investigators told News Channel 11 that he ambushed Janina at the Town of Appalachia water treatment plant, where she was working the night shift alone. He had previously threatened to kill her multiple times, according to the sheriff's office, and Jones has a lengthy criminal record, including a count of attempted murder for hire, as well as firearms and drug charges. Now, while we don't know exactly what's been going on in Coach Turner's life, locals have pointed to Jones's disappearance as proof that it's not hard to disappear into the hills of Appalachia. Joining us now is someone who knows a lot about what it takes to conduct searches like the one that we're seeing play out in Southwest Virginia right now. Billy Lane, private criminal defense investigator, founder of We Are the Essentials, which we'll talk about in just a moment. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Based on what we know about Coach Turner and what law enforcement is working with, what stands out to you?
The fact that he left days before law enforcement got there. I think this shows that maybe he was made aware of a potential criminal investigation, maybe from his job, maybe from the school, maybe somebody from the school had called him in to discuss this potential scenario playing out, and maybe he read the writing on the wall and realized that this may be detrimental to his career, to his family life, and he may have taken the opportunity to leave his home and go into the woods.
You know, this happened so it's been 5 days at the time we're recording this. It was Thursday night, November 20th, that he disappeared or was last seen. What does it take for someone, if he's still, and hate to be morbid here, but it's the reality of it, if he's still alive and he's in the woods, I mean, what does it take to survive this long?
Well, people who live in those type of areas understand they camp, hunt up there. A lot of hunters will go out there and just hunt right there in the woods and camp out in the woods. So it really depends on his background. And as an investigator doing through We Are the Essentials search and recovery investigation.
Yeah, it's crazy that, well, not crazy that you say that, but I think about that case a lot too. Although that guy was an actual survivalist, who knows? But if he's not dead, he's got to be overseas.
Investigators, we try to meet with the family and talk about these things. You know, how experienced is he in the woods? How experienced is he a hunter? Is he not a hunter? Can he go up there and survive? So there are a lot of things. And then the other question is there any camera footage? I know we say we've seen him go into these wooded or the hill area near his home, but was there any video showing him carrying? Evidently, there's some rumors that he might have been carrying a weapon, but was he carrying a backpack? Was he carrying any supplies with him up there? Is there a base camp up there? Is there places where they go hunting that he may be going to and could potentially survive for several days and wait it out to sort of see what happens? I would assume he more likely does not have a phone, or they would be able to ping that. So he may not be off the grid. He may not understand the magnitude of this search that's going on right now for him. He may have no idea. He's just up there. And like you said, this could be not a very nice situation. He could cause self-harm to himself. And
of course,
and that might have already taken place. And we pray not. We pray that he's still in a window of reflection where he's thinking about what's going on and contemplating his life. And maybe law enforcement will be able to locate him before things take a turn for the worst.
They've already taken a turn. I mean, if you're accused, even if you're accused, and I know it's not fair because there are people that get falsely accused, but I mean, the fact that he disappears before the charges tells you everything you need to know.
Right. And, again, we'll just keep saying, he hasn't been officially accused of anything publicly. I mean, we know that there was this investigation that was going on with an employee of the school, but they're not saying it was him. And I know people will hear that and be like, well, obviously it was him, but we don't know, at this point. Maybe there is an explanation for everything. Wise County, Virginia, southwest part of that state, very rural area. These are coal mining towns, kind of tucked into the mountains. How difficult of a search area is it when you're dealing with a landscape like that?
Oh, it's very, very challenging because the elevation alone, you're dealing with mountains where here in Florida, where we are the essentials, we deal with flatland, typically swamps and overgrown wooded areas. Up there, you're dealing with tough terrain. You're dealing with a lot of animals out there, bears and everything else that wants to eat you. So as you can imagine, the law enforcement are utilizing resources such as choppers, drones. But the other issue is that those are great tools. But if you get under brush cover, under trees, and even when using thermal, it's going to be very challenging to locate you. Now, worst case scenario, if he had caused self-harm, there might not be a heat signal coming from the body still to identify, even with the thermal drones or the chopper having a thermal system in it itself. So at that point, you have to go in there on foot. Now, I know that they're using dogs. Dogs are great tools. There again, that's a tool. But to really find people, like we always say, we have to go where others do not go, where others won't go. And in this scenario, he might have gone deep into the woods because he did choose to harm himself, and he does not want anybody to find him. So it could be very challenging. This man appears to be physically fit. He's a coach, athletic coach. More likely could have walked or hiked for miles up there because he did choose. So it could be more likely could have walked or hiked for miles up in there. And depending on how soon they actually started their search, which was several days into it, appears to be, he had a 2-day lead on them.
Well, and I think too, like very, very different case, but a search in a vast area with really tough terrain. Travis Decker out west, who killed his 3 daughters, but he took his own life. According to the FBI, it took them months to be able to find him, and it's unclear specifically when he took his life, but for a long time there was part of you that's like, this guy was in the military. Does he just have the tools and the tactics to outrun the FBI and all these different agencies? But he may have just been dead the entire time. How difficult is it to find someone? How difficult is it to find a body compared to someone who may still be alive?
Well, when a person's alive, they're constantly moving. For the most part, when they've taken their life, if they're no longer with us, they're not moving.
Yeah.
So actually a recovery is much easier than a rescue because that individual is still constantly moving around if they're alive, constantly trying to evade you if they are trying to do that. Brian Laundrie is another one. It took them quite some time to locate his body here.
I brought up both of those guys before they did. I've never seen this before.
In Florida, we were involved, and that was one of our initial searches that we began with. That's how We Are the Essential started. So it's difficult to begin with because you're using lots of resources and you're trying to put together the picture of what's going on here. Not only this could potentially be a criminal investigation because there could be some potential criminal charges here. And I know that they said, oh, we just wanted to talk to him. We weren't there to arrest him. Well, talking is the first portion before the arrest occurs because you're developing probable cause, you're interviewing him. There could have been some things that might have led to an arrest during that talking phase of law enforcement. So I would take that for a grain of salt. I believe that they're trying to present the best case scenario here. And the fact is that this is a small town and he is a very popular coach, a winning season, so I think that a lot of people look up to him and this could potentially impact his family life and his career and just totally embarrass him. So you have to wonder what goes through a person's mind at that point. Are they going to lose everything in their life, their family, their career, and potentially their freedom?
Well, and part of it too, there was the scanner traffic, and all of this is unconfirmed. There's a lot of media reports. We just kind of give a disclaimer on that there was a man seen going into the woods that was carrying a gun of some kind. And if the reports are true where he was the center of this investigation, certainly a small town, everybody knows everybody, this shame, this embarrassment, if he goes out there to hurt himself, that's one part of it. And we don't know his background. We don't know what he's like behind closed doors. The other part of it is if he was accused of something, is there an anger and he's carrying a weapon and he goes into the woods? I mean, for people who are searching in these types of cases, even if one may seem more probable than the other, like how do you prepare for, and at this point, this is just a missing persons search. It's not a manhunt, but at the same time, you hear that piece of information. What goes through your mind as you're taking part in a search?
Well, you have a potential armed individual in the woods is what you have. And as a law enforcement officer, if you have reason to believe that he may be a suspect in a criminal investigation, now he has a potential to cause harm to law enforcement officers before they get there. And unfortunately, if a person want to harm themselves, they have no reason not to want to harm others, if that makes sense. As a law enforcement officer, you have to consider that. So any self-harm scenarios could be potentially harmful to the officers themselves before that scenario plays out. I would say if he depends on what type of weapon he took into the area, would make a difference in my mind of whether it's a self-harm scenario or if he went up to the woods to barricade himself.
Look, this is an innocent until proven guilty situation, but it does no good knowing that there's an investigation going on into possible child P, which is just the most heinous shit. And he disappears. He goes off into the woods. I mean,
then to sort of like hold himself out so he wouldn't get in trouble in whatever fantasy he was playing out in his mind that he could actually accomplish this would depend on what type of weapon that he took up there, what type of weapons he had available, how many weapons he took, did he take ammunition, is there a tent up there, was he able to maintain some type of base camp up there?
Yeah, you know that he's buddies with some people on the force. They're like, yeah, we have a winning football team. Coach, they're looking into you for child P. And he's like, all right, I'm out of here.
And the other thing you have to consider, which I would think would be potentially a high
he's done
probability, is that these sheriffs and detectives more than likely grew up in that area and more than likely knows this area and more likely hunted up there. They more likely know all about this area. So they are more likely the best type of individuals to go up there and locate him. So there's a lot that has to play out here. These types of searches are searches that we would become involved in because,
because like I said, I'm all for innocent until proven guilty until you start doing shit like that makes you look guilty. Then what are you supposed to think? Well, I mean, guys sometimes go off into the woods to think about things that they're going to be possibly charged with.
Potential recovery.
Bullshit.
It's a ground search. But the fact is that potentially there's somebody that might be armed that might have a criminal element to them. So these are all things that are considered when you have to do this, whether you be law enforcement or a search and recovery organization like ourselves.
Because I also think, too, just looking at this landscape and how vast it is, and if he has this head start by 2 days, and his wife had posted it's about 24 hours later, it's a deleted Facebook post just talking about how he was missing at this point. How do you figure out how wide of an area you're looking for someone if the last thing you may know is that he just walked into
just leaving his family hanging like that, sick.
To the woods.
Dude, this is sick.
For us, we go on a 2-mile radius. That's where we start at. Anything in a half a mile, no stone is left unturned. Up to 2 miles out. Now, if somebody's athletic, if somebody goes out and runs and walks every day, that's a different story. That could spread out to 3 to 5 miles at that point. So, and the other thing you have to consider is how many days lead do they have on you? This gentleman.
Unless there's like some sort of like ring going on, which there are things like that. I mean, his normal friends, I don't think that they would, like I said, no, you typically hide it mostly, I would guess.
Had 2 days leads on law enforcement. That's a whole different scenario as well. But the unfortunate part is that sometimes when people want to cause harm to themselves, they go to a location where they can feel like nobody will find them, and then they do the deed, unfortunately. Sometimes that's right away. And like I said, sometimes they consider their options at that point. But most of the times, once they build up their motivation, isn't long before they're no longer with us.
How common is it where if things line up with where the speculation is that he was going to be the center of this investigation, there's an embarrassment to him, his family, all of that. I mean, major life crisis for him during a time when he was, seemingly beloved in the community. He'd been the football coach at the school since 2011, and they're, having this great season. How common is it you see this type of life crisis happen that leads to someone disappearing like apparently we're dealing with here?
Well, I think the life crisis here could be a potential for some action on his behalf that led to a criminal investigation, or at least a criminal inquiry by law enforcement. This could have been a scenario that played out at his own hands, and we're not aware of that yet. But typically, this could show conscience of guilt. Him leaving and going into the woods and wanting to harm himself shows conscience of guilt. Something to think about. Now, I can't say that in every scenario, but it's something to consider. Would an innocent person run into the woods and go hide or try to harm themselves? Or would they just say, look, I don't know what you're talking about here. You've got the wrong person, and go about your day, go about your life, and go, play football and coach a winning team like you've been doing, and be there for your kids and your players.
Yeah, no, and we'll see how this plays out. Very, sad situation potentially, but maybe there's an explanation for everything. Maybe the speculation's not true. We'll just have to wait and see what officials say. Billy Lane, you are the founder of a group called We Are the Essentials. You do really important work. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Talk a little bit about that organization and the work that you do.
So we are a nonprofit based out of Central Florida. We're comprised of former military, law enforcement. We're all licensed private investigators and just regular citizens who want to go out there and do extraordinary deeds for families of missing people for free. We survive on donations. So if God puts it on your heart, please visit wearetheessentials.com, where you can find out more about our story. Through the last 4 years, we have not only recovered the bodies of missing people, but we've rescued individuals who were lost. We've also helped law enforcement recover human trafficking victims. So we are trying to live on purpose and glorify Christ in what we do.
Well, it's always great to have you on Law.
That's a really cool organization. It sounds very nice. Hold on. I'm going to show you something. I released this like a long time ago, and let me see. Hold on. What did I do with it? Son of a bitch. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. This was when I was in my making shit phase. Sort of kind of reminds me of a situation like this, but not entirely exactly. But sort of. Look how old this is. This is like 4 years old.
And Division of Criminal Investigation agents comb through what's left of the Westerhouse home.
It's really sad.
The house that once stood 3 miles south of Platte caught fire in the early morning hours. At 5:30, a driver passing by saw flames and called 911. That's about the time when Marcus King noticed fire trucks.
We go out there and we go where the house is, and it's all in one great big ball of flame, and it's already fallen down.
The residence was already completely engulfed.
Charles Phoenix County Sheriff Randy Toller said it took about 7 hours to extinguish the fire. During that time, King prayed that his longtime neighbors weren't inside.
There was hope for a couple hours that as they were putting the fire out that someone would get a hold of them and they had gotten out and left, but it didn't happen.
Scott and Nicole Westerhouse were inside the home as well as their children, 2 boys and 2 girls.
There has been some victims located within the structure of the building. They're non-identifiable at this time.
The search is expected to continue through tomorrow morning.
They were just a busy, neat family, you know.
In Platte, Haley Higgins, KELOLAND News.
The definition of greed, according to Webster's dictionary, is a selfish and excessive desire for more of something, such as money, than is needed. Greed is one of the leading factors in crime. And personally, I would say greed and jealousy are at the top of the list. You don't have to believe in the Bible to know that old scripture is true. For the love of money is the root of all evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. And Webster's definition of accountability is taking or being assigned responsibility for something that you have done or something that you were supposed to do. And it's the readiness to have one's actions, judgments, and failures to act to be questioned by reasonable others, to explain why deviations from the reasonable expectations of responsible others may have occurred, and to respond responsibly when errors in behavior or judgment have been detected. Accountability is a critical component of professionalism, and it's closely related to the principles of morality, ethics, and legal obligations. Scott Westerhouse had everything that you'd want in life. He had a beautiful wife, a good career, 4 great kids, all very active within their school and outside activities out of the school. They had friends, teammates, classmates. They were interwoven into the community as a vital part. Scott Westerhouse served as MidCentral's business manager, and Nicole Westerhouse was the assistant business manager. And in addition to those jobs, the two had ties to nonprofit organizations that received Gear Up funding, including the American Indian Institute for Innovation. Scott Westerhouse was the registered agent for several nonprofit organizations that received large payments from MidCentral for performing services for the Gear Up program. MidCentral lists one known as American Indian Institute for Innovation as a partner. State records show AIII was initially created in 2008, and Westerhouse filed new paperwork in May of 2015 for a similar named nonprofit organization, American Indian Institute for Innovation and Excellence. Westerhouse, his wife, Nicole, and Stacy Phelps, a State Board of Education member who runs the South Dakota Gear Up program in Rapid City, they were the incorporators. Now this is how it works. The State Department of Legislative Audit found the State Department of Education needed strong financial controls over its partner in administering a federal grant intended to help American Indian students consider college, and the State Department of Education received the federal aid but doesn't actually run the Gear Up program. Instead, the federal aid is passed through the state development to a sub-recipient, the MidCentral Education Cooperative at Platte. So MidCentral in turn pays large amounts of money each year. And the current contract with the State Department is for $4.2 million to direct employees, advisors, consultants, and other vendors to deliver the program services in high school, university, and colleges in South Dakota. In short, the money that is issued from the federal government to a sub-recipient who then distributes it. The sub-recipient? MidCentral. Now, obviously, all that money should be accounted for. And with such a loose watch on the way the money is spent, people tend to do shady things. Okay, so hang with me here. The State Department of Education provides $50,000 per month to Mid-Central and pays invoices submitted from Mid-Central. And during a State Department of Legislative audit, they found some problems during its inspection of the Gear Up Grants administration for the 2014 fiscal year. Overpayments had been made by the state on expenses submitted by Mid-Central for the Gear Up and College Access programs. State Education Secretary Melody Shop said the money. Has anybody seen this video that I mean, it was so long ago. It's not, I don't think it's posted anymore. Is repaid by Mid-Central would be returned from her department to the federal government. The audit also found 2 prominent advisors on Gear Up were paid for months when they hadn't submitted what are known as effort logs showing what they had been working on. According to court documents, the couple, Scott and Nicole, took money from Mid-Central's bank account without authorization to fund the American Indian Institute for Innovation's payroll. At the end of November 2015, the Institute owed Mid-Central as much as $826,000 for payroll. Stephanie Hubers, a former business manager and employee at Mid-Central, told a state investigator Scott Nicole Westernhouse stole the money from the Institute, including writing checks to themselves from its bank account for their own use, according to a court affidavit. They spent at least part of the money on home improvement projects. We have ourselves a good old-fashioned financial scandal. And usually what happens in these kinds of situations is people become indicted and they go to jail for what is considered white-collar crimes. Defrauding the government tends to carry a term of 10 to 15 years. And when you go to federal prison, you don't do 50% of the time as you do in state prison. In federal prison, if you are sentenced to 10 years, you will do at least 9. In state prison, if you get 10 years, you can serve 5. But Scott Westernhouse couldn't face the music. He knew he was in trouble and he was going to be indicted. When the audit happened, they found irregularities. And just like that, overnight, Mid-Central lost their $4.3 million government grant. 2 other executives were charged with 6 felony counts for falsifying evidence and conspiring to offer forged or fraudulent evidence. They went to trial and they were found not guilty. Scott never made it to trial. Scott was never indicted because the day after he found out that Mid-Central had lost that grant, he was never going to face that charge. On September 17th, 2015, a catastrophic house fire occurred at the Westernhouse residence located at 36705 279th Street, Platte, South Dakota. The scene was secured by law enforcement, and DCI was contacted by the South Dakota Fire Marshal's Office to assist in the house fire and death investigation. Maggie, the canine dog, indicated to the presence of an accelerant at the scene. The location of the indication was adjacent to Scott Westernhouse's body and recovered a shotgun. Samples were taken from this location to identify the type of accelerant used. Tests conducted at North Dakota State Forensic Lab were unable to identify further information due to the catastrophic nature of the fire and the inability to obtain good testing samples. The family of 6 had died in a tragic house fire. Why would Scott set his house on fire to kill his wife and children? When the autopsies were done, there was no soot in anybody's lungs. How's that possible? Scott killed his wife, 2 sons, and 2 daughters well before he lit the fire and turned the shotgun on himself. They were dead before the fire had started. Scott Westernhouse couldn't face the music that was coming, and instead of ponying up like a real man going on trial, taking his sentence, or getting off, he decided to annihilate his family and himself. Michael Westerhouse was an 11th grade boy. Played football for Platt, and he was also active in First Reformed Church youth group. Connor was in 8th grade. He played numerous sports, including basketball and baseball, and he attended the junior high youth group and had a reputation as a bit of a prankster. And JC was in 5th grade and enjoyed volleyball, cheerleading, and youth ministry, and other activities, and she was known to be quiet and reserved, but had an infectious laugh. Kaylee, who was only in the 3rd grade, was a joyful girl with the ability to light up a room. She loved participating in t-ball, cheer, and swim team. There is no evidence that Nicole had anything to do with the murders and that she was a victim herself. Instead of taking accountability for what he did, he decided to kill his entire family while they were in bed. Money is the root of all evil. Scott Westerhouse is evil. 3 others were indicted in the Gear Up scandal. All 3 were acquitted. Scott Westerhouse is a family annihilator, similar to that of Chris Watts, Ronald Gene Simmons, Marcus Wesson, and Scott Peterson. The town of Platt has 1,200 people. Such a tragedy rocks the foundation of places like that. You're not a small fish in a big pond. Everybody knows everybody, and small rural communities tend to be tighter knit. What drove this man to do this, I will never understand. Maybe he didn't want the shame and embarrassment. Maybe he didn't want his kids to find out what a horrible father he really was. Either way, a senseless and tragic event happened on August 17th, 2015, in Platt, North Dakota. 5 innocent people were killed, and then they were burnt to a crisp because their father defrauded the government, and he wanted everybody to pay. Accountability is taking or being assigned responsibility for something that you have done or something you are supposed to do. And for love of money is the root of all evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. God, that was so long ago. I did cover. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, this was like before I started live stream. I did these before I started live streaming. It was. Yeah, when I read about that case, it obviously all of them bother me, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. It just reminds me of that kind of stuff. Like this guy obviously has ran off. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, he's probably offed himself and whatever, but. They're sick. Let me see if there's anything. Let's see. Yes, I did, actually. I did a video of Marcus Wesson. Holy shit. Oh my God, I can't even believe this. Check this out. God, there's so many of them. I should really just put these out. Look at this one. Look at that's my old logo right there. God, that was so long ago. Lay down. I don't hear anything. Why can't I hear anything? What happened?
Involved in every clothing.
God, look how shitty I am with this.
Today, I'm going to tell you what events led to this massacre. The answer you receive when posing this question depends greatly on who you ask. One of Wesson's sisters sees the boy who loved animals and who she felt had a natural gift for healing. Their mother related a story when she told her son a dog he was caring for couldn't possibly survive. Yet Wesson appeared to intuitively know what to do for the animal, nursing it back from the brink of death. Wesson's children all say he was a loving father, involved in every aspect of their lives. In contrast, police and prosecutors will more than likely tell you that Wesson is pure evil. Any love that Marcus Wesson bestowed upon his children was tainted by perversion. How then did the Wesson accused of these horrific atrocities develop from the kind, nurturing young man his siblings and mother remember? Let's begin with a little more background information. Born Marcus DeLon Wesson on August 22nd, 1946, reportedly a violent and abusive alcoholic, and Carrie, a religious fanatic, according to her son. Wesson would live a relatively uneventful life until he became obsessed with religion. A religion of his own making, one most of us would label a cult. Wesson stated Jesus Christ was a vampire and then proclaimed himself to be, at times, Jesus Christ, and at other times, God. Wesson declared himself a vampire god, and although he would twist the scriptures and the Bible to reflect his teachings, before long, he was writing his own version that reflected his strange beliefs.
Man, these are first of all, that is terrible. But hold on a second. Cat sees you. Thank you so much for gifting 20 Lab After Dark memberships. That's so kind of you. Holy hell. So bad. What's this one? I don't even remember doing this.
Simmons fled first to Ward, Arkansas in late night. Had
Listen how
fathered a
bad
child
the sound is.
with his 17-year-old.
The crime lab. It's so stupid.
Members of our family let us down in many ways. They can cut us the deepest emotionally, And family is all we really have in this life. But when you're betrayed by your family, nothing is harder to accept. What makes someone want to hurt their loved ones? How evil do you have to be? It takes a special kind of sicko to harm their family. And that brings us to Ronald Gene Simmons, the Christmas killer. On December 22nd, 1987, Ronald Gene Simmons began a killing spree that would be one of the worst mass murders in Arkansas history and the worst crime involving one family
God, these are
in
so
the
bad.
history of the country. His rampage.
I think I'm just going to put them all out. Remember the Chris Watts one?
Watch CC's blink, fellas.
So I think at this point I'd moved on from the crime lab to the lab.
CC's enjoying it.
Terrible.
Yee.
I think I will. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll put them all out. I haven't. They just sound like shit.
So, you know, it's amazing what you can do with Thrive and how it gives you the energy and mental clarity. How are you watching and you're sitting right here?
I'm right here.
Weirdo. So Chris has lost a significant amount of weight since you started Thrive. How much?
50 pounds.
And he's in a medium. He went from a 2X to a medium. And that was before, most of it was before Duo.
Oh, yeah, all of it was.
And Duo is new. So, you know, filling in those nutritional gaps, helping your body, you know, feed itself with the premium nutrition.
As shown in Shanann's frequent Facebook posts. From the outside, they appeared to be a happy suburban family. But Shanann's friends had recently started hearing about the trouble in Paradise. Still, no one could have ever guessed the chilling, brutal murders that were about to put an end to their happily ever after. And I would like to warn you, some of the details in this story may be found disturbing. In 2010, the couple met when Chris sends Shanann a Facebook request. Shanann calls Passaic, New Jersey her hometown on Facebook, but later moved to North Carolina, where she and Chris met through social media. Quote, I got a friend request from Chris on Facebook, unquote. She says in the Facebook video that was later released, I was like, what the heck? I'm never going to meet him. She accepted. One thing led to another, and 8 years later, they had 2 kids, and they lived in Colorado. And he's the best thing that ever happened to her, in her words. On November 3rd, 2012, Shanann and Chris got married. The couple tied the knot in Charlotte, North Carolina. And December 17th, 2013, the first child, Bella, is born. The couple's first child, daughter Bella Marie Watts, is born in Colorado, and Shanann was so excited to have her first baby girl, she spent every minute thanking God and taking care of her precious gift that the Lord had blessed her with. This is from the obituary of Shanann Watts. July 17, 2015, their second daughter, Celeste, is born. Nicknamed Cece, younger daughter Celeste Catherine Watts is a summer baby, also born in Colorado. Shanann was so excited to be able to have a second baby and determined to stay healthy because of her lupus that she was battling. Shanann was also diabetic. In June 2015, the Watts family files for bankruptcy. With a combined income of $90,000 in 2014, in addition to credit card debt, student loans, and medical bills, The couple filed for bankruptcy in June 2015, stating that their $3,000 mortgage and $600 car payments took up most of their $4,900 in monthly expenses. Additionally, their homeowners association sues them for unpaid homeowner association fees. May 5th, 2018, Shanann posts a sweet Facebook Live video. In the over half-hour Facebook Live video, Shanann muses about her life, saying, "I love waking up on Saturdays and being able to enjoy my family," and talking about being excited about the upcoming summer in Colorado. Quote, "I believe that everything in life happens for a reason, and I also believe that people are placed in our lives for a reason," unquote. Chris can be seen playing with the girls in the video. June 11th, 2018, Shanann surprises Chris with the news that they're expecting. In a video later released by Channel 9 News, Shanann wears a shirt that says, "Oops, we did it again," and surprises Chris with the news of their pregnancy. He reacts saying, "That's awesome." June 17th, 2018, Shanann posts a Father's Day message to Chris on Facebook. "Chris, we are so incredibly blessed to have you. You do so much every day for us and take such great care of us. You are the reason I was brave enough to agree to number 3. From laundry to kids' showers, you are incredible and we are so lucky to have you in our life. Happy Father's Day." June 2018, Chris starts talking to Nicole Kessinger. Kessinger works at the Petroleum Environmental Department, and she would see the operators, including Chris, on the way to the fridge. Chris came by her office and struck up a conversation one day. They had their first meeting outside the office. This is like later. a 40-minute video, so I can't play it all, but I will. There are certain things. Yeah, I could do that. I could do a watch party, or I could. I'm going to release them. I'm going to really. They're terrible. I remember doing these, and I don't mean like the videos are terrible or the stories, but they're pretty sad. Let me see. I think there's so many of them. There's another page of them too. Jeez. Yeah, it's quite a bit of them. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I will release them. I will. I will do that. Yeah, I always think that too. It's a great question. I didn't. Haley Morris, no, I didn't. What are you doing? Get down. Don't do that. Just like licking the wall. I don't know why he's licking the wall. Anyway, on a lighter note, and on the way out, I will say that we got an email back from the Porta Potty company, and so we're filing an emergency. Is it an emergency? Not an injunction, but we're filing for. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, Peyton, if you go back, Peyton dropped the news on us. Yes. Yeah, that's something that I always try and focus on, especially at the end. Because, you know, the people that we talk about, the people that die in these horrible murders and things like that, I mean, they were, you know, they're real people, and it's just horrible. Yes, we are trying to get, let me read this email. So Peyton read this earlier, but here it says, so if you weren't here for the beginning of the show, the lead-in show, I'm not trying to bury the lead here, so I just want to say, Dear Mr. Diaz, this is from the porta potty company that Peyton's the one that received this email. Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we cannot provide you with your porta potty request for several reasons. First reason being, we don't offer, quote, buddy porta potties, and would need an emergency permit signed off on by the city council. Mary, happy birthday, by the way. We were going to, I told everybody it was your birthday. I hope that's okay. I didn't say how old you are. Because I don't know if I know or not, but I don't do it. Okay. Dear Mr. Diaz, we regret to inform you that we cannot provide you with the porta potty request for several reasons. First reason being, we don't offer a buddy porta potty, nor are you zoned for porta potties, and would need an emergency permit signed off by the city council. If you aren't a construction zone, I doubt they would grant you one. We suggest, since you are in a neighborhood with running water, that your guests use the indoor facilities. If you ever need our services for a carnival or fair, or if you have a big construction project, feel free to reach back out. Best of luck. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mary. Happy birthday to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lab After Dark is starting shortly.
I'm out. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. The Lab, 7:15 tomorrow. Dr. Gary Collins show. We'll be there. Thursday night, we'll have a Thanksgiving GeoGuessr. Fa la 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 la. La 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 la. Best late night show. Best chat. Best everything. Best of the best of the best.
Lab After Dark is starting soon.
We love you, Mary. Good luck, Wolf Rider. We'll be keeping you in our thoughts. What do you want me to say? Yeah, this is a great show. The chat sucks, though. They don't suck. Matter of fact, the chat is its own entity. It's the co-host of the show. Especially of a live show. Thank you, Deanna. Good to see you.
Well, you opened that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to feed, but whatever, you know.